Spanish audio provided by Telemundo Deportes.
Look at San Francisco on this second Saturday of 2020, so come on down the freeway to Santa Clara, where the 49ers take the field, set to tee it up with the Vikings in this NFC Divisional Playoff game.
Russ is going to let it fly. He's got Metcalf deep. What a play by DJ Metcalf. Simply spectacular.
The Houston Texans in overtime.
Brady throws underneath. That's Logan Ryan. Intercepted. Touchdown.
1 week ago, what you expected wasn't what you saw.
The Minnesota Vikings have shocked the New Orleans Saints in overtime.
And when you find a way to shock the world, the possibilities can start taking on a life of their own.
I got 3 words for you. You like that?
Now, waiting on the Vikings today is a powerhouse.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
The 49ers earned the best record in the conference, but they're also young and prone to tight battles, with their last 5 games all having come down to the final seconds.
Alistair, he's tackled short of the goal line!
We feel like we've been in the playoffs for almost 2 months now, so we're ready to ride.
Nobody's handed anything out. If we expect to win, we need to go and take it and earn it.
The 49ers and Vikings square off.
The moment is big, but you can't let it overwhelm you.
The possibilities are limitless.
We can go anywhere and play with anybody.
The expectations, meaningless.
Because in the NFL playoffs,
The only thing that matters
Is right now.
Levi Stadium opened in 2014. This afternoon will be the first time the 49ers will host a playoff game in their home facility, with a date in the NFC Championship game at stake, as Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers meet Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings in this NFC Divisional Playoff game. Al Michaels with Chris Collinsworth and Michelle Tafoya. So the 49ers are in the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. Over the past 4 seasons combined, this team coming into this year had won 17 games. This year they win 13 games, and thus the road to the Super Bowl on the NFC side will come through here. If the 49ers win, they will meet the winner of tomorrow's Green Bay-Seattle game here next Sunday for the NFC Championship. The Vikings finished with a mark of 10-6, a lot of highs and lows, a lot of ups and downs. But this is a team with a lot of star power on both sides of the ball, and they put it all together last week, went down to New Orleans, big underdogs, and defeated the Saints, shocked them to earn the trip out west. Chris, slide in here, because last week the Vikings had a great game plan, terrific game plan to knock off the Saints. What do you expect today?
Well, Kirk Cousins stole the headlines last week with that first ever playoff win. But really, for me, the story was how physical they were on both sides of the football. And if Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter rush the passer like they did last week, they're going to be tough to beat.
49ers have not won a Super Bowl in 25 years, a quarter of a century. How did they take a big step today?
You know, Al, they're really a very complete team. They deserve to be the #1 seed. But this is Jimmy Garoppolo's first ever playoff start, so he's going to need some support out there. Both these coaches believe that whichever team runs it the best is the winner.
The Super Bowl is 22 days away. Which team keeps Miami in its sights? Vikings, 49ers next on NBC.
You need to keep you in the game.
NBC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League, celebrating 100 seasons.
This time of year, it's not about simply continuing your story. It's about rewriting it.
In the playoffs, nobody's handed anything out.
Whenever you can perform well late in the season, it adds to your legacy.
Once an understudy, now ready to carve his own legacy.
What makes us trust Jimmy is he's been doing it ever since he got here.
Often doubted in the spotlight, now eager to own it.
I haven't been around a guy that's as competitive as Kurt.
2 quarterbacks, right where they want to be.
Two guys who've having to wait for their opportunity, and then when they got there, they've been ready to go.
Two stories set to clash in the NFL playoffs.
Speaking of quarterbacks, one of the all-time greatest, Joe Montana, who led the 49ers to 4 Super Bowl wins. All right, let's go to the field right now. Check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, let's go from quarterbacks to the players who get after the quarterbacks. The 49ers this week get back one of their premier pass rushers. Defensive end D4 missed 5 of the last 6 games with quad and hamstring injuries. Kyle Shanahan told us he'll use Ford primarily on passing downs. Also returning, prized free agent acquisition Quan Alexander, who's been on injured reserve with a torn pectoral muscle since week 9. The linebacker told me he has everything he needs to be effective today, and Shanahan says Alexander could not have looked any better this week. Meanwhile, Vikings star wide receiver Adam Thielen had his left heel area lacerated by a teammate's cleat in Wednesday's practice. That required stitches, and he hasn't practiced since, but he did come out early for pregame warm-ups wearing a little extra padding around that ankle. I spoke with him after warm-ups, and he told me he feels, quote, good enough. And that's good enough for Kirk Cousins, Al, because Thielen was his #1 target last week in New Orleans.
All right,